Welcome to another Classic Car Club drive-through. Today we have the 2019 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. We had a couple of the last ones and they're fantastic cars. You know, I came around to them when they first came out. We had a first generation Cayman S, which is one of the best performance sports cars you can buy. In that context, paying twice the money for a prettier, albeit lesser performing car just didn't really jive with me. However, time passed, we got one. I spent some time with it. I grew up a bit and realized it wasn't just about going fast all the time. And I really came to appreciate the early V8 Vantage. It's really pretty. It makes great sounds. You feel special when driving it. Yeah, you know, it's a bit heavy for its size. It's a bit stiff. It doesn't make as much power as you'd expect. But you kind of forgive all that because it's a real experience to drive. And looking back, it's actually real analog. With a manual gearbox, had heavy brakes, heavy steering. It's an actual real machine to drive. 12 years after that one came out, we've got the 2019 Vantage in our hands, and it's an entirely different machine. This isn't a slow evolution like a Porsche 911. 12 years on, they scrapped the whole picture and made a brand new car with a new formula. They grabbed the drivetrain from the Mercedes AMG GT, beautiful 4-liter twin-turbo motor, makes 503 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque, basically power everywhere. The requisite ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox that acts just like a double-clutch paddle. Everyone seems to love this gearbox. Brembo brakes, adaptive suspension, all the stuff that a modern sports car requires. The bar is set really high now, and Aston Martin has stepped up to it and delivered a proper sports car. With all that, I think they've made a really smart move. I think these are cars that are going to have some longevity, and they're looking to grow their market. And as an Aston is always intended to do, it looks amazing. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Beautiful car, incredible sounds, everything about it is special. When you get inside it, you know you're in for a special experience. Pretty interesting here. Definitely sitting low. Feels purposeful, like you're in a proper sports machine. For all the kind of elegance and beauty outside, in here I think things get a little busy. There's tons and tons and tons of switches, a lot going on here. Sure, if you spend some time with it, you get familiar with everything is, it wouldn't be a problem. Personally, deal with a little bit simpler controls. It's all keyless, so put your foot in the brake. It's a push button gearbox selector, 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. There's a bunch of controls on the steering wheel for things like infotainment. The important ones are these two buttons at your thumbs. The shock absorber one is going to do suspension tuning and traction. For the roads we have, the conditions we're in, it's a little wet out today. We're going to leave that just on sport mode. I would argue I'd love to see a softer mode in this car. That's my only criticism of it. And it'd be nice to make sure the tires are going to stay connected with the pavement. S on your right thumb, that's going to do engine management, exhaust, transmission. Probably mostly want to play between Sport and Sport Plus. Clean, clear roads, you give the track mode. It's going to change all the character of the car when you select those different modes. Pulling away auto here, it's just going through and doing everything for me. We're on sport. It's still pretty visceral. It makes good amount of noise. I'm amazed at how good manufacturers go with their chassis design. On-center steering feel in all these cars is super sharp, really nicely weighted. You feel like as soon as you turn the wheel, something's happening and you're really engaged. Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Mercedes, everybody, Audi, they're all making these great cars. And Aston Martin with this latest generation is really stepping up to it. And I do think the AMG drivetrain's really helping out with that. Pretty much instant torque wherever you want. I mean, right now we're in 5th gear at 2,000 RPM. And put my foot down, I'm surging away more than I have road for at the moment. And when you get into the higher revs, it definitely gets pretty violently fast. What they've been able to deliver with these turbo motors is just phenomenal. It is a great departure from the earlier V8. Missing, obviously, is the manual gear shift. There's rumor they may do a manual one of these, but on the launch edition, it's auto only. To be honest, as much as I love analog cars and rowing the gears myself, that's not what this car is. This is a really sophisticated modern sports car, and I think the paddle shift gearbox actually fits it pretty well. We'll give it a little Sport Plus. So much torque, and it's a little cool and damp today, so the tires were kind of struggling to keep up. Even these massive, little bit of damp roads, lots of torque, you do have to be mindful. Again, I was only probably halfway down on the throttle just to get it going a bit, and the back end was going and the traction was jumping in. It's really kind of no fault to find with this thing. I mean, again, everyone's making such great cars at the high end of the performance level. This is a car I think the one thing I especially like about it, while I still think it's maybe a little too stiff, compared to the old one, it is more compliant and you could be comfortable driving this thing a long trip. And exceptionally fast. I mean, I just thought for a second, I wonder if I'm going a little quick. 80 miles an hour, like on a 40 mile an hour road, and it wasn't even really trying. At half throttle, just kind of letting momentum go. The performance standard among cars has become ridiculous, and this car is a good example of it. All right, that's a little too rapid, I think. Yeah, the performance level is so high. This is why I love old cars, you know. Old cars, you can do all that stuff, go run through the gears. Maybe you're braking 40 miles an hour. This thing, you kind of get halfway into it and you're going 100. So at the end of the day, I think Aston Martin nailed it. They made a car that is using all the benefits of modern technology, German reliability with the drivetrain. They made it engaging when you want it to be, but docile, comfortable, compliant when you want to take it on a trip. This really is a great kind of do-it-all sports car. I'm struggling to find anything wrong with it.